Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Rime Buddhist Center. We are very glad that you are here with us today on this International Women's Day. Yeah, and also on a day when the time has changed. So I don't know. I wonder if in about an hour, a lot of people are going to start walking in. So we'll keep an eye out for them. For those of you who are joining us online, welcome as well. We are delighted that you're joining us. And if you'd like to follow along with our service, please, you can download the PDF with all of our prayers and chants in the link in the description of the video. So look for that and you can follow along with us. Refuge vows. In the Buddha, Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until enlightenment is reached. May my generosity and the accumulations of merit bring benefit to all beings, and may all beings actualize perfect Buddhahood. In the Buddha, Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until enlightenment is reached. May my generosity and the accumulations of merit bring benefit to all beings, and may all beings actualize perfect Buddhahood. In the Buddha, Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until enlightenment is reached. May my generosity and the accumulations of merit bring benefit to all beings, and may all beings actualize perfect Buddhahood. Four immeasurables. May all beings be endowed with happiness. May all beings be free from suffering. May all beings never be separated from happiness, and may all beings abide in equanimity undisturbed by the eight worldly concerns. May all beings be endowed with happiness. May all beings be free from suffering. May all beings never be separated from happiness, and may all beings abide in equanimity undisturbed by the eight worldly concerns. May all beings be endowed with happiness. May all beings be free from suffering. May all beings never be separated from happiness, and may all beings abide in equanimity undisturbed by the eight worldly concerns. For as long as space endures, and for as long as living beings remain, until then may we too abide to dispel the misery of the world. Seven-limbed prayer. Reverently I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind, and present clouds of every type of offering, actual and mentally transformed. I declare all my negative actions accumulated since beginningless time, and rejoice in the merits of all holy and ordinary beings. Please remain until samsara ends and turn the wheel of Dharma for sentient beings. I dedicate the merit created by myself and others to the great enlightenment. Mandala offering. This ground, anointed with perfumes, strewn with flowers, adorned with Mount Meru, four continents, the sun and the moon. I imagine this as a Buddha field and offer it. May all living beings enjoy this pure land. The objects of my attachment, aversion, and ignorance, friends, enemies, strangers, and my body, wealth, and enjoyments. Without any sense of loss, I offer this collection. Please accept it with pleasure and bless me with freedom from the three poisons. Idam Guru Ratna Mandalakam Neatayame. The focus of our meditation practice today is Tonglen. Tonglen is the Tibetan term for giving and receiving. And it refers to a specific meditation practice found in our tradition. We have been practicing Tonglen to develop our compassion and our ability to be present for our own suffering and the suffering of others. So as you take a couple of deep breaths, begin to settle into your seated posture, being fully aware of your own body, the places in your body where you feel comfort and discomfort, softness and tightness. Attend to your own body, your own needs. And now allow your breathing to be natural. Simply observe your breathing for a moment. Pay attention. We begin this practice with a heart that is truly committed to helping others and to working openly with our own situation. When we look deeply into how this can actually happen, we see that to help others, we must relate with kindness toward our own suffering, our rage, our helplessness, our frustration, our doubt, and our fear. Today, let us do practice for a world that seems to be falling apart. So, in the in breath, you breathe in whatever particular area, group of people, country, or even one particular person. Maybe it's not a more global situation. Maybe it's breathing in the physical discomfort and mental anguish of treatments, of illness, of uncertainty about work and resources. Whatever is near and real for you. Or maybe it's the pain of those who have lost loved ones suddenly or recently, unexpectedly or over a long period of time. We breathe in and try to connect with that sense of grief and loss. Breathing in, we breathe in the wish that all beings who are mistreated, who are hurting, who are experiencing anguish and persecution, that they could be free of that suffering and dissatisfaction. We breathe in with the longing to remove that suffering. And then we breathe out and send enough space so that people's hearts and minds feel big enough to be able to live with this discomfort, with this fear, with anger and despair, with whatever physical or mental anguish they are carrying. So breathing in, we breathe in the dissatisfaction, the hurt, the fear. And breathing out, we wish spaciousness, peace, calm abiding, liberation. There is so much suffering all around us, so much dissatisfaction, near and far. Some of this suffering is caused by natural events that we have no control over. And so much of this suffering is caused by greed, by ignorance, by pride. So breathing in, we hold space in our hearts for victims of violence, of neglect, of oppression. And breathing out, we wish for them justice, reconciliation, loving kindness. Breathing in, we imagine that we can, just for 1 second, feel the pain and anguish of living in a place that is torn by war, by bombs, death, families separated. Breathing out, we wish for peace, for good sense, for compassion to reign. And so as we breathe in, we imagine that we can feel just a minimal fraction of this suffering, and we hold space for it. And breathing out, we send forth loving kindness, compassion, solidarity. Breathing in, we connect with the anguish, the fear, the uncertainty that people in our own communities are experiencing as they are the targets of bigoted legislation and initiatives. Laws that are meant to dehumanize, to demoralize. And breathing out, we send forth spaciousness, justice, loving kindness, solidarity. And now take a couple of deep breaths and notice how you are feeling yourself. This practice of Tonglen breaks our heart and softens our heart. That we are aware and we realize that the real work begins once we get off the cushion, with how we stand up and use our voices and our power to speak up for those who are oppressed, who are hurting. This practice prepares our heart so that our feet can march and our voices can be heard. And now we take one last deep breath and release this practice. Supplication to Buddha. To the Blessed One, the one gone beyond, the fully awakened one, the great physician, the supreme teacher, you came to this earth and through your own efforts you obtained the awakened state, overcoming all suffering and distress. Through your great compassion you showed us the path to liberation. You taught us the merit of compassion, wisdom, and equanimity. To you, the glorious teacher, I prostrate. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions. Perform only perfect virtuous actions. Subdue your mind thoroughly. This is a teaching of the Blessed One. Through the merits of these thoughts, words, and actions, may we dedicate this for the benefit of all sentient beings. And like you, O Blessed One, may we and every being attain your supreme awakened state, free from the ocean of suffering. Lord of the Dharma, I prostrate to your omniscient being.
Om Muni Muni Ma Muni So. 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 Om Muni Muni Ma
Supplication to Manjushri. Om, homage to Manjushri, deity whose diamond speech cuts off all suffering, whose clear mind is the embodiment of insight wisdom. Manjushri protector, free from evil and karmic stains. Your form is vast as the sky. Your mind dwells in the one taste of suchness. Lord of wisdom, I prostrate to your omniscient being. Supplication to Maitreya. Om, Lord Maitreya, benevolent one, golden son of the primordial, emperor of the northern paradise, around you the stars and spheres course and turn. Within the span of your breath, countless worlds rise and fall. Deity of innumerable names, called or uncalled, you are always present. May the pure heaven of Tushita always arise before us. Supplication to Palden Lamo. Soul Mother, Lady victorious over the three worlds, please pay attention here and now. You overpower the whole apparent world, samsara and nirvana, by heroically guarding the Dharma and Dharma holders with the four types of actions flashing like lightning. You soar up openly like the full moon in the midst of a garland of powerful Dharma protectors. Powerful Dakini protector, I prostrate to your omniscient being. This second meditation practice is self-guided Tonglen. So as you take a couple of deep breaths and settle into your posture, remember that we begin this practice with ourselves. We begin with ourselves because just as we cannot pour water out of an empty cup, we cannot give what we don't have. For so many of us, caring for others, helping others, being concerned about others seems to come quite naturally. But the same is often not true for ourselves. Oftentimes, our own self talk, the way we treat ourselves, the way we think about ourselves, is anything but compassionate and kind. And so begin this practice by focusing on your own needs today. What grief, what hurt, what fears, what suffering are you carrying today? And how can you love yourself through it so that you may then love others through it? So begin this practice of Tonglen, breathing in your own dissatisfaction, your own suffering, and breathing out the wish that you may be happy, that you may be free from suffering, that you may have peace, that you may be treated with loving kindness. And then when you are ready, begin to expand that circle of Tonglen, of giving and taking, to those people nearest to you, to your communities, allowing that circle to ripple outward as far as it can reach. But only when you are ready. And now gently begin to bring your attention back into this space, into this room. And take a deep breath and release this practice. Lojong lineage prayer. For the sake of all beings to attain enlightenment, I turn to the source of the ultimate mind training, to the perfect Buddha Sakyamuni, who taught the profound path of the two truths. I pray, let the sun of your wisdom dawn in my heart. To the lords of the Dharma, Nagarjuna and Asanga, and to the great-hearted Santideva, who mapped the vast path of the Bodhisattva, I pray, ignite the flame of bodhicitta in me. To the lineage holders of the Lojong instructions, who realized the view, perfected compassion, and championed the practice of exchanging self and other, I pray, shatter the fortress of self-cherishing within me. To Sir Lingpa, Atisa, and Chakawa, to Tokme Sampo, who lived what he taught, all who blended sutra into essence, I pray, may your realization awaken in me. To my kind root Lama, the embodiment of all refuges, from whom the living stream of this lineage flows, I pray, let your mind and mine become indivisible. Heart essence for awakening. Having received the blessings of the lineage, resting in the heart of indivisible mind, I turn these blessings into the path, applying the essence of mind training for the awakening of all beings. With these blessings, I will train in the preliminaries, remembering this life, precious and fleeting, change, cause and effect, suffering born of cherishing self. From these reflections, renunciation arises, and the determination to practice is born. In every moment, I see all things as dreamlike, resting in awareness, unfabricated and clear. I free even the antidote in its own place. Breathing in the suffering of beings, I breathe out the ease. Oh. When difficulty weighs heavily on the world, seeing the root clinging to self, thus every challenge becomes the path. I take all blame into one heart and let emptiness shine through pain. My whole life gathers into the essence of practice. I apply the five strengths without decline: aspiration and familiarization, wholesome seeds and restraint, revulsion toward harm and diligence in virtue, gathering merit, clearing obscurations. All my conduct flows from awakened intention. All teachings serve a single goal: liberation. I rely on the principal witness, my own clear and knowing mind. Joy dwelling within confirms the training. Impartial and free from display, I keep my word. My attitudes change without strain. I do not speak of injury or dwell on faults. Releasing rivalry and expectation, I practice patience and boundless kindness. In short, with these blessings, all I do arises from one pure intention: to bring benefit to all beings. Patience and courage are my refuge. I train unceasingly in the three difficulties. Gathering trust and practice as provisions, I remain in virtue of body, speech, and mind. With all pervasive care, I serve all beings, seeking in this very life the realization of the supreme vehicle. Through the merits of this mind training, the heart essence of Atisa and his heirs, sustained by the blessings of the lineage, may confusion be exhausted at its root, and all beings attain perfect awakening. We recite the long form Vajrasattva mantra 3 times, and then we recite short Vajrasattva mantra. Om Benzar Sato Samaya Manupalaya Benzar Sato Dino Patritra Drido Mebawa Sutokayo Mebawa Supokayo Mebawa Anurakto Mebawa Sarva Siddhi Meprayatsa Sarva Karma Sutsame Sitan Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sarvata gata bin sarma me munsa binzi bawa mahasamaya sato ahum pet. Om Bensar Sato Samaya Manupalaya Bensar Sato Dino Patitra Drido Mebawa Supokayo Mebawa Supokayo Mebawa Anurakto Mebawa Sarva Siddhi Meprayatsa Sarva Karma Sutsame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sarvata gata ben sarma me munsa benzi bawa mahasamaya sato ahum vet. Om benzar sato samaya manupalaya benzar sato dino patritra drido me bawa suto kayo me bawa supo kayo me bawa anurakto me bawa sarva siddhi me prayatsa sato masutsame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sarvata Gata Ben Sarma Memunsa Benzi Bawa Mahasamaya Sato Ahum Pet.
Vajra Sapa Hum Vajra Sapa Hum Vajra Sapa Hum Vajra Sapa Om 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 Vajra Om Vajrasattva 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 Om Vajra Safa 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 Om Vajra Safa.
This third and final meditation practice is self-guided. So we will sit together silently. You may choose to continue practicing Tonglen. You may choose to practice calm abiding shamatha meditation. Well, once again, welcome and thank you for joining us today. Before we begin the Dharma talk this morning, I want to offer a warm welcome to everyone who is here and especially those who might be visiting for the first time. I'm not sure that I see anyone visiting for the first time. If you're here for the first time, will you raise your hand if you want to? Okay. Well, thank you for being here. We really want to make the Rime Center a meaningful part of everyone's journey. I have a few announcements. The first one is that there are still pastries and coffee and tea available. So after our service, if you'd like to just hang out and have a pastry and some coffee, please do so. I want you to know that all of the donations that have been made are really making a difference. There was a letter sent from the Bodhicitta Foundation that describes in detail how these funds are being used and how they are making a difference in people's lives. So, whoever imagined that just by eating donuts and hanging out with your friends, that's all it takes. So, if you have a dollar or two and you can add it to the basket and then take time to hang out and eat some pastries, do so. It makes a difference, and it's good for you too. Um, there's a really exciting and new kind of event coming up, and that's going to be March 21st here in the Sangha House. You can immerse yourself in a deeply relaxing sound bath meditation. It'll be here on the 21st at 10 a.m. The 21st is a Saturday, so 10 in the morning. You can experience soothing tones and vibrations designed to promote calm, mindfulness, and inner balance. I know we all need this more than ever. All donations that are collected from this event will go to support the Rime Center Temple Fund. So another way to make a difference and also benefit. On March 22nd, right after the Sunday service, please join us for a mindful service opportunity to care for the Rime Sangha House grounds. We invite all of you, if you could volunteer, to help us with seasonal outdoor cleanup and light gardening. If we have beautiful weather like today, it should be a lovely time. Um, so it's a great way to practice together and also a great way to support our community. So please bring sturdy garden gloves and basic garden tools, such as rakes or shovels, whatever you have at hand. Um, I want to especially thank Travis today for helping us with all of the technology and the transmission online, and for keeping me honest with the service. Um, thank you so much, and thank you to all of you who have worked in some way or contributed for this to be able to happen today. Um, the work of the Sangha is done by the Sangha, so thank you. So finally, as we reflect on renewal and continuity, we are reminded that for over 30 years, 30 years, if you can imagine that, it was the 90s. Dang. For over 30 years, the Rime Buddhist Center has been a sanctuary in Kansas City, offering compassion, wisdom, and community. And to support our growing Sangha and ensure that the Dharma continues to flourish, we've launched a $30,000 fundraising effort for our 2026 building fund. Every offering, every contribution helps to sustain and strengthen our shared home, this space. So far, we've raised $5,393. So we are on our way, but we still have a ways to go. If the Rime Center has touched your life or supported your practice, we warmly invite you to join us in building the next chapter of this community together. You can contribute on an automated monthly donation through the website. There's also a QR code in your program and online if you wish to contribute that way as well. Okay. We are grateful today that Hans is going to share the Dharma talk with us. So bear with us for just one moment as we shift. Yes, you may stretch.
right, I should scoot up. All right, today I'm going to talk about chapter 9 of our little book, Using Creative Methods for Transformation. And it's not a long chapter, but there's actually a lot in it. And I'm going to try to explicate some of that. So when you read it again, you'll see it and know what to look up. So the slogan is, this is a different translation, the fourfold practice is the most excellent method. So what's the fourfold practice? Well, 1, accumulate merit. 2, purify negative karma. 3, make offerings to the malevolent forces. And 4, make offerings to the Dharma protectors. And there are little sections on each of those, right? Here's a quick map. Map of enlightenment. There are a bunch of them. You might have seen one. There's a picture of elephants going up the path, right? So these practices today are all part of the path of accumulation. That's the first of the 5 paths or stages on the spiritual journey in this map. It focuses on the generation of relative bodhicitta, the accumulation of merit. I'll say the second path is the path of joining. That's when you cultivate deeper understanding of wisdom. The third path is the path of seeing. That's when you get a direct realization of absolute bodhicitta. That's when you become an Arya being, first level bodhisattva. And there are 10 levels of bodhisattva, and that's a whole other map. But this gives you a little context, right? It sounds far-fetched maybe, but it's not really. Lots of people I've met, you've read, have reached this. Third path is path of meditation, and the fourth is path of no more learning. When you get there, you're gone, right? Gate gate paragate parasamgate bodhisvaha. It is reasonable to say, if you think about Buddhist countries like Thailand, right, that this path of accumulation is the main practice of Buddhists in the world. Like most Buddhists do this kind of thing most of the time. So it's pretty mainstream. Think of it as step 1, right? Path of accumulation, but it's also the only step. I mean, there is no step, right? There's only what you're doing right now. Why? I haven't seen anything that says how much merit you need. I have seen things that suggest it might take an incalculable eon to get there. So don't worry about that. Don't dwell on where you are in the spiritual journey. Instead, direct your attention to what you can do to benefit yourself and others now. All right, the path of accumulation does this. It creates the causes and conditions of happiness and liberation. Causes and conditions, that's what merit is, right? You want to make good karma. The practice of purification reduces the effects or potency of the causes and conditions of suffering, right? So you want to mitigate bad karma. All right, so accumulate merit. I got a little commentary on this slogan from, I'll only butcher this fellow's name once, Si Chibu Chokye Gyaltsen. He says, if you wish for happiness free of suffering, cultivate faith and respect toward the teachers and the 3 jewels, which is the cause of all happiness. Gather the accumulations. Merit is sometimes treated as spiritual currency that you earn and you can spend or give away and dedicate, but it's not. It's not a discrete something that you can have, right? Like a merit scholarship or good grades. It's not a quality that you can have, right? Because no self, emptiness. In Buddhism, merit simply means the causes and conditions for the generation of happiness and liberation. The relation between causes and conditions and their effects is fairly complicated, right? Like famously, we're told, don't think you figured out karma, right? It isn't always possible for me to say, this one good thing I did that one time is why I'm a little bit happy now. That connection is not obvious. So sometimes it's better to think of merit as somewhat nebulous, like positive mental energy, potential for happiness and good. Potential. All right, there are 3 primary ways to get merit, right? One is generosity, that is intentional giving. Dana is I guess the Sanskrit. Ethics, sila, that is intentional restraint from wrongdoing. giving, ethics, and meditation. That is intentionally taming and training the mind, which is what we're doing, mind training. All right, so I just said intention, and that's a big part of all of this. He says so in the very beginning. It's like, yeah, you can do stuff, but if you do it intentionally, then it makes a difference. So, and I'm clustering intention, motivation, dedication together, right? Intention is what makes it go. Kind of like pixie dust, makes your good deeds fly. Okay, so you can see the power of intentionality, right? When you think about how it works in your ordinary life, right? You might do something good, like telling the truth or avoiding harm, but you might do it thoughtlessly or out of habit or even under duress, right? You might absent-mindedly throw coins in the beggar's can. Or, right, I mean, I might, right, thoughtlessly pocket a friend's lighter, or I might do it on purpose. And that's so much worse, right? Because then it's not just the lighter, which is like $2. It's kind of like betrayal, you know? And, you know, I might consciously decide to set aside some money to give those in need. I might like do it on purpose, deliberately, and then make a plan and even set that money aside. And, that makes a big difference in my life compared to just throwing a dollar. So how do we set intentions? You declare the positive actions that you want to increase. And you also declare the reasons, right, which is those consequences, those outcomes that you're trying to produce. And it says briefly in the book to do this in general and specifically, right? And so that's something to think about. You might say, may my generosity and accumulation of merit bring benefit to all beings, but also I'm going to actually give some actual money to the Rime Center, which is going to actually benefit, well, me and you, right? And so I don't know if I'm benefiting all beings today, but I'm definitely had in mind, like the intention is to benefit somebody here. And there are other ways to reinforce these intentions. We could ask Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, other exemplary beings to witness our efforts in setting motivations, dedicating results. We might select specific beings because they have exemplary qualities that we'd like to share. One of those qualities might be generosity. Path of Accumulation goes really hard on generosity or giving or dana. I heard it once said that giving is supposed to be the easiest part of this path. And I felt deflated because I thought I'm not even good at the easy parts of Buddhism. So what hope is there for my practice? But then I thought about it a little more. What could that mean? And I don't think it means, oh, the generating the internal conditions for generosity is easy. Not for everybody always, right? But what does make it easier is that there's this great abundance of opportunities to practice it, right? People, organizations that can be helped by me are everywhere and really actually close to hand. And even better, if the world doesn't offer you the opportunity, the means to be giving in every moment, well, you just create those opportunities, right? Because, you know, we would say even monks can do it, and they don't actually own anything but like literally the robe and bowl they're carrying. So how do they do it? Well, we can do it the same way, right? 7-limb prayer, the mandala offerings, it says it explicitly, right? Right? Clouds of every type of offering actual and mentally transformed. All right, so how does this work? So I've got a bowl and I put a little rice in it, right, and say a mantra over it. And that's an offering. And there you go. Right? I mean, candles, incense, that's nice. All right, so the Lamrim text lists lots of targets of our generosity, right? Who do you give offerings to? Well, you can give alms, right? But also service or respect or honor, right? You can make offerings to the 3 jewels, it's often said, right? And that would be like here somehow. To the spiritual community, you can make offerings to elemental spirits, whatever local is going on. You can make offerings to spiritual teachers. And again, attention is what gets it really going, right? You keep in mind the results that you want to produce. That's the key to doing all of this. All right, the second practice, purification of negative karma. Again, from the commentary, imagine your suffering comes as a messenger. Your suffering is telling you this: if you don't want to suffer, abandon the cause, which is negative karma. Negative karma is what we do not want to accumulate. However, back in the day, there was that slogan, just say no. Well, I didn't hear it until it was too late. So, some days I like gesture at my life, my relations, and I think, well, mistakes were made. And so here we are. What do we do, right? Well, one thing you can do in the presence of the three jewels is engage in the rites of requesting forbearance from them for any shortcomings. What does that mean, right? Monastic communities have this weekly or monthly meeting, and they confess or acknowledge their wrongdoings. I broke my vow, and I'm going to tell everybody, and sorry. And that's actually really good, right? You demonstrate remorse, and you apologize, preserves relationships. And the rest of us can learn from this practice. I mean, I guess you've already heard of the idea of apologizing for. You don't have to wait like a month for a meeting. We're reading this year the teaching of Vimalakirti, and we find this story. Two monks committed some infraction and come before the senior monk Upali and say, we both committed this infraction, Venerable Upali. Kindly remove our anxieties by absolving us of these infractions. The two monks may request forbearance, right, from Upali for any consequences he may impose, right? And he can grant that, right, in the context of that community. The absolution is that senior monks listening to their confession, encouraging their resolution, and don't do it again. Right? But what he can't do is grant a dispensation that reduces the karmic effect of their actions. That's back on you, right? These rites only provide you the opportunity to come to new understanding and decision. All right, so after the confession, you move on to the four powers, and this is mentioned in the book, but way too fast. And so four powers, or the four factors, there's a sutra of the teaching of the four factors that lists them, are these. There's the action of repentance, the action of the antidote, the power of resolve, and the power of support. And action of repentance is when you repent your misdeeds, you admit. And in order to admit, you have to understand and accept what you've done and the consequences that you've caused, right? And then this regret wells up, you've got this remorse, and that's motivation. To do what? Action of the antidote. So seeing the harm we've done, we perform wholesome actions, right, as an antidote. There's this teaching, and I think I've said this before in another context, there are two pieces of wood, sometimes mortise and tenon, and they're joined with a peg through both pieces of wood, right? And to repair that joint, you might knock the old bad peg out and replace it with a new one. And we can push our unwholesome actions out with meritorious actions, like literally fill up our minds and our time with wholesome actions. And it leaves less and less room for the unwholesome. All right, so what can we do? Again, this is there are lists of things you can do, and you'll have heard this. Recite and study sutras, such as the Heart Sutra. Recite mantras, such as Green Tara or Vajrasattva mantras. Make offerings, give to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and the charities and the Dharma centers. And generate bodhicitta. You meditate on the idea that you would like to perform virtuous actions. All right, so next is the power of resolve. You fortify your inner strength with the power of resolve and restraint. You make a determination or a pledge or a vow, right, to avoid such unwholesome actions. And by setting your attention, you lay the groundwork for a new habitual way of thinking and acting. Again, intention is central to all of these, right? And you have to do it on purpose. So you decide, I'm actually not going to do the thing. And you're going to think, right, what you don't want to do. And you're also going to think, why not? Right? There are negative actions and they follow from, and then there are negative results that follow from them. And that's what you keep in mind, right? So you declare the negative actions, you declare the reasons, you can list them, write them down. And again, they can be general and specific, and you can have specific people in mind, or maybe everybody, or right. And I'm going to avoid harming sentient beings, and also I'm just not going to steal from Walmart anymore, and right. And there's specific reasons, right? Because I don't want to increase my anxiety, and my family would be bummed if I got like in trouble, and there's the self-respect that I get from upholding my vow. There's specific reasons. You can write them down. When you look at that, you're like, well, actually, that's a pretty good reason. That's how this one works. All right, and the power of support. All right, so you look to your refuges for support. We've got 3 refuges, right? You don't have to do this alone. Like those refuges are now concrete. You can just actually things and people that can help you, right? And it's your bodhicitta, but it's also the Sangha, right? And it says specifically, establish good relations with your supports, right? Generate positive feelings towards sentient beings, especially those who can help you, and ask for help. That's the practice. All right, so a couple things about bad karma. One is really, you should practice the self-compassion, right? These 4 powers are potent, and karma can feel really weighty, right? Keep a sense of perspective, though, right? You're on a path, you're going along. Focus on what you can change about your own actions, and what you can do to repair and heal. So when you consider your misdeeds as they relate to ourselves, right? Like, oh, this is thinking about what I did, right? Is often better not to make a big thing of it, right? In the 7 Limb Prayer, it says, well, we confess all our negative actions accumulated since beginningless time, which is presumably a lot. But in the context of most of our practices, that is sufficient detail, right? We did it. We're done. We go on to the next line, which is a little more uplifting. Right. So the first part of purification is practicing this relative bodhicitta, compassion towards yourselves and those you've harmed. All right. So again, from the teachings of Vimalakirti, right? Vimalakirti reminds us, right, that we're human beings. And what does that mean? Well, one thing is we've got the Buddha nature, the Tathagata Garbha. So he might ask you something like this, right? The ultimate nature of the mind, by virtue of which your mind is liberated, does it ever become afflicted? And you say, no, never. This is exactly, right? And that's true for you and all other beings, right? So remind yourself that whatever you do, you cannot sully that primordial purity. So what do, right? You don't make a big thing of it, but really you don't make a thing of it at all, right? The ultimate purification arises from practicing ultimate bodhicitta. That is wisdom realizing emptiness. And now I'm probably just more reading what I've read for you. The root of the problem is ignorance, all right? Not knowing the ultimate nature of the I, the self, the aggregates. Consider yourself and your negative actions in light of this teaching from Vimalakirti. He says, conceptualization is total affliction, and not conceptualizing and not discriminating is the true nature of mind. Misapprehension is total affliction, and non-misapprehension is the true nature of mind. The presumption of self is total affliction, and selflessness is the true nature of mind. All things are without production, destruction, and duration, like magical illusions, clouds, and lightning. All things are evanescent, not remaining even for an instant. All things are like dreams, hallucinations, and unreal visions. All things are like the reflection of the moon and water, and like a mirror image. They are born of mental construction. So listening, reflecting, meditating on the ultimate nature of everything is the most important thing in the practice of purification. And you might ask yourself something like, what does not discriminating mean in the context of purifying negative karma? And if you don't have an answer, that's okay, because it says in sutras that even if you think about emptiness for a minute, that's of great benefit, right? And simply generating the wish to experience a view of emptiness purifies the heaviest negative actions. Sutra mentions that even questioning whether there is such a thing as emptiness or not shatters samsara into pieces. So one of the best approaches is to read something in the Perfection of Wisdom tradition. There are these sutras like the Heart Sutra, again, and the Teaching of Vimalakirti. All right. And then this one was really interesting to me, making offerings to malevolent forces. And I thought, oh, we're doing shadow work, but wait, am I ready for that? And I don't know, it sounds, but it's not, right? So it's, offer tormas and etc. to agents of harm. And it sounds scary, but then I thought about it and read about it, and I realized, oh, I'm actually already doing some of this. Because when do you do this? Well, you do it whenever you have the opportunity to be generous, when it's appropriate to practice ethics, when you're getting ready to sit and meditate. In those situations, you look at, well, what are the malevolent forces at work? We personify it, but it's whatever is making it hard for us to be generous or to practice ethics or to meditate, right? Remember what the enemy is. It's wrongdoing, right? Now, we do personify, and it's probably worthwhile. And it's perfectly okay, too, because, we imagine, we project this personality, or, create this image of a person in front of us, and you say, well, is that real? And okay, well, note that that's actually exactly the same thing we do with every person and personality, ourselves included. All right, so the malevolent forces, or whatever it is that hinders us from practicing generosity, ethics, meditation, desire, hatred, anger, right? Dullness, pride, jealousy, the 84,000 afflictions. And specifically, there are 5 hindrances. This is a list, right? There are 5 hindrances that can mess up your meditation. You might be restless or remorseful or worried, or you might have hateful thoughts or ill will, right? And, sit there and be mad at somebody, and that's not much meditation going on. And that's the malevolent force, right? And sloth and sleepiness is my favorite. And yearning lust, sensual desire. That means what's for lunch? Because there are 5 senses, right? And we just imagine doing anything besides sitting here. And doubt, because you might not think this is doing anything anyway. Just really not sure that this practice is going to produce any results. And so how do you deal with these hindrances? Rather than cultivating a spirit of conflict, right? Like a wish to do them harm, like they're demons, and I'm going to fight them with my sword. No, you treat them gently and generously, right? You make them offerings and you say, look, here you go. I got something for you. Now, will you please leave me alone? Right? At least for a little while, so I can engage in my practice, right? Create some merit. So you cultivate loving kindness and compassion towards them. So the commentary I've been quoting from suggests you might address these malevolent forces in this way. So through obstructing my work for the benefit of all sentient beings, you will be reborn in hell, which is bad for you. So I'm here to help you. I'm going to make offerings, right? Mental, material, spiritual gifts, right? And so stop harming me and leave me. And we also make offerings to Dharma protectors. Commentary recommends supplicating them as follows. Please ensure that no obstacles arise in my meditative practice. Remember the promises and the solemn oaths you have taken in the presence of the Buddhas. You're asking them to remember that so that they come to your aid. And also you remember it because they're exemplary and you want to be just like them. So these Dharma protectors, like the malevolent forces, are not really other or separate from ourselves. The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, the Yudams, are protectors because loving kindness and compassion are protectors. Right? Recall that the Buddha taught the discourse on loving kindness as a way for monks to protect themselves from their fears and the evil spirits in the forest where they were meditating. They were scared, and he said, well, you just do this, and you'll be safe. And so our wish to attain liberation for the benefit of all beings, our bodhicitta, is the great Dharma protector. And so you might remember my little cup and water. It actually works even like that. You might pour one out for the mind of awakening itself, right? For Chenrezig or Green Tara or Vajrasattva or whatever form it appears to you also. All right, so 4 things, maybe just 3. Accumulate merit through generosity, ethics, and meditation. Purify negative karma with the 4 powers. And make offerings to everyone and everything around all the time. Everything, good and bad. There you go.
Well, thank you so much, Hans, for good, wise teachings and a mellifluous voice that I could listen to for hours on end. You should have a podcast. Long life supplication for His Holiness the Dalai Lama. In the land encircled by snow mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good. All powerful Chenrezig Tenzin Gyatso, please remain until samsara ends. A flower of faith and praise of Lama Chuk and Mary. Lama of great compassion, with kindness to all, you firmly established the Rime tradition through skillful means and wisdom. Mary Tenzin Dawa, who is the embodiment of all the Dakinis, with the sun of wisdom and the moon of compassion, you bring love and joy to everyone you meet. Inspired by your example, I vow to cultivate compassion and wisdom. From this moment forward and in all my future lives, I will strive to embody the Buddha's teachings in every thought, word, and deed. Dedication of merit. By this merit, may all obtain omniscience. May it defeat the enemy wrongdoing. From the stormy waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death, from the ocean of samsara, may free all beings. By this merit, may all obtain omniscience. May it defeat the enemy wrongdoing. From the stormy waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death, from the ocean of samsara, may free all beings. By this merit, may all obtain omniscience. May it defeat the enemy wrongdoing. From the stormy waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death, from the ocean of samsara, may free all beings. Aspiration prayers. Bodhicitta is precious. May it arise for whom it has not arisen. Once arisen, may it not diminish, but ever grow and flourish. All difficulties without exception being pacified with harmonious situations like the treasure of the sky. May the teachings and practice of the Rime tradition live long and shine brightly.
And with respect and devotion, I bow to the Buddha.